6:30 CHED Afternoons with Jaylen Nye. Weekdays at 2 on 6:30 CHED.
What a day for Canada at the Olympics. As we've been telling you, the women's soccer team made history by reaching the Olympic final for the first time and beat Sweden on penalty kicks after the teams were tied at 1 at the end of regulation and extra time to take home the gold. Just watching the highlights again right now and have goosebumps. And by doing so, Quinn becomes the first openly transgender, non-binary athlete to win Olympic gold. Quinn is a midfielder on the team. In a tweet, they wrote, "I want to make sure kids keep playing sports. For me, that's been so important." Now, these games have been unprecedented for LGBTQ visibility and inclusion, with as many as 182 LGBTQ athletes participating. Joining us this afternoon is Marnie Panis, an Edmonton-based Canadian certified inclusion professional, trans advocate, and athlete. Marnie, welcome back to 6:30 CHED.
I am so excited to be here, Jaylen. What an amazing day. Congrats, Team Canada.
Oh, my goodness. I know you were up, same as I was this morning watching the game. What was going through your mind, Marnie?
Oh, my gosh. It's just, waking up at 6 o'clock, and I was watching every second of it, and it was so exciting to see the team. And I tell you, very early on in the game, Nigel, who was the announcer, when we're talking about Quinn, commenting that they will be the first to win a medal, and just hearing Nigel use the pronouns of they, them to talk about Quinn is, all I could do was just picture so many young people watching this and saying, you know what, that could be me one day. And just that validation, oh my gosh, my heart, that's actually where I got the most emotion, to be honest.
Marnie, when we talk about the use of proper pronouns, the importance of it, why is it so important?
Well, it tells people that I hear you, I believe you, you're welcome here, we respect you, all of those things that often people don't get told enough of. And honestly, it's more than about our pronouns. It's about believing us when we tell you who we are. Mm-hmm. And that's such a long way, that's such an important piece.
Absolutely, an important piece, and we talked about it earlier, to hear that announcer use they, them. It was really, I think, it's such an important moment, because I think, oh my gosh, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you can't underscore the power of words in a moment like that. But to your point, we do have a long ways to go, because I'm busy looking at some of the social media today, reading some of the comments, and I tell you, there's so much transphobia and hate out there still about Quinn, about these stories, and that part breaks my heart. If youth are looking at those things, that's why this is important. That's why we got to talk about this, and also, Quinn. At the end of the day, this is a team sport, and you don't get to a gold medal game, you don't get to the Olympics without being an amazing team that is supportive of every player on that team. And that in itself should send a message well beyond the power of sport, but into the workplace, into school, into society, that when you can truly create an environment where everybody can bring their whole selves to whatever that environment it is, we all become champions.
Well, and it is so important, and it has to start early, Marnie, because we know that kids who aren't comfortable, aren't in a safe environment, when it comes to sport, oftentimes won't continue.
No, absolutely. I think it was EGAL that had a study. That's an organization in Canada for the sport of LGBTQ+ people. I think if I read a stat properly, that 12% of trans students were discouraged from even participating in school sports. They drop out early. They don't, or if they are participating, experience intolerance and bullying, so they don't participate at all, and we're less likely to participate. So even for, and we think of a number of other barriers to get to an elite level, access to funding, access to sponsorship, access to coaching. Trans people and non-binary people are already starting at 10 meters behind the starting line of any race, any way of life. And so to get to this place is already an accomplishment, let alone to win a gold medal.
Marnie Panis joining me this afternoon. Marnie, we hear oftentimes in this conversation that transgender athletes shouldn't be allowed to compete because, let's say, for example, they might have a leg up on other athletes. What do you say to that?
Well, it's interesting because I myself, being an athlete, I did compete in the World Masters Games in Edmonton 2005, and I was reflecting on my one bronze medal that I ever won in my life in that race. And I think about, anecdotally from my own personal experience, I do follow AAF rules, so then I had to declare my gender, be on hormone therapy for a number of years, being able to prove my testosterone levels, and I can tell you I've never gotten even anywhere near that personally, but the research is also very clear. After about a year of hormone therapy, any advantage is mostly gone. And the thing is, we look at, when we have these restrictive policies, they hurt all women. There are a lot of women who were penalized for being too good at the Olympics. And at the end of the day, Quinn won and is amazing, but there's still a lot of people who still can't play. And we can't, when we say we all can play, we can't do that until we truly all can play. And so that's what we have to think about.
Yeah, so, Marnie, the Olympics have brought this conversation. It has brought visibility. How do we continue to capitalize on this to make meaningful change when it comes to, let's talk about team sports or individual sports, when it comes to coaches, when it comes to teachers? Where does that have to start?
Yeah, the conversations like this are absolutely important. Start to break down the myths, because you're right. A lot of when we talk about that notion of fairness, again, we look at Michael Phelps, who has like size 17 feet. We think that's a gift. Well, wow, what extraordinary gift. We look at Usain Bolt, who has a foot longer foot stride as compared to any competitor that he's ever run against. What a great gift. And then we have cisgender women and other women who have too high testosterone levels. They're penalized for that. Those aren't gifts. And at the end of the day, when you get to something like the Olympics, you're 1% of 1% of 1%. So you're already on the outskirts of society. I
think it's really important that coaches are educated, that team leaders are educated, and that we speak up as well, and we take a stand and we say, no, this is what's happening.
That's right. We have to challenge, we don't have to look even that far outside of Alberta. Looking at our own athletics association, they have not adopted inclusive policies. They still use some very old policies that are very restrictive. And so we need to start questioning these things. We need to start holding people to better standards.
Marnie Panis joining me this afternoon. Before I let you go, my friend, when you were listening to the team sing "Oh Canada" today,
wow, that was just brought a great number of emotions already. Just watching all of them lined up, and then there was that moment where we say, "All of us command." I thought, this is why we changed the lyrics. And I was so proud of them, all the women and Quinn. It's just such a proud moment for all Canadians, particularly for LGBTQ plus people, but even more so for those youth who are watching. When you think about 20 years, what the women have done for sport and for soccer in Canada, that will be that moment for trans and non-binary youth who watched that game this morning. That's what warms my heart.
Yeah, representation matters, and being able to see yourself at that level. Who knows what that's going to mean for some kids out there?
It will change lives. It'll change, just having that hope, that you can see yourself on TV. You can see people validating you by using the right names and pronouns. All of those things just says, that could be me too. And it starts to open up those conversations and give hope. And that's what we need to focus on. You asked, what should we do going forward? Let's continue talking about individuals and superstars like Quinn, saying all the amazing achievements. They happen to also be trans and non-binary. Those are two, that's an adjective of thousands that we could apply to Quinn. So let's focus on all of them.
Absolutely. Marnie, always great to talk with you. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, my friend.
I couldn't be more happier. Thanks, Jalen.